So guys, welcome back to this React Native animation series. Alright, so let's go ahead and create our cool animation that we found from UI movements. We actually want to create this design over here. So let's get started. I'm going to create some couple of objects, bring down some couple of objects that we're going to be using. So if you check in this design over here, you can see we have a list of cars that actually works with this slide. So let's go ahead and add those things. I'm going to add the car name. So we have the first one happen to be a Porsche 911 GT3. So I'm not going to spend time typing down all the names. So I'm just going to type down maybe one, then I can grab the other ones from the GitHub repository and add it. So let's just add something like 361 KW. Then I'm going to bring down the image. So for the image, we're going to have an object. Then in the source, we can require 3 folder backwards. We go over to the assets images. We have car1.png. Okay, I can even do this right away. Let me just copy that. And I'm going to paste 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. So we have car2. We have car 3, we have car 4, lastly we have car 5. So these are some cars we have. The second one the name is Gold, so Gold 911. The third one, the name as well is Gold. The fourth one, the name is GT2, and lastly, I think let's just give this GT2 Porsche 911. And for this one, we have Gold Porsche 911. But let me just leave that name, and then I will just use this over here. So let me just add something like 2 to differentiate that. So that is done for the slides. And let's go over to build our application. So down here, inside this flex over here, I'm going to remove all these lines. So the first thing we have to make use of, we are going to be making use of a view from React Native Reanimated. So I'm just going to come at the top here. I'm going to import this one from Animated, and I'm going to import Animated from React Native Reanimated. So scrolling a little bit down, this view over here, we're going to grab it from React Native Reanimated. So that we get rid of that error for us. So inside this view, we are going to have 2 views. So I'm just going to paste, copy and paste that. So the first one, before we begin, let's just give this some, let's say, text footer slide. And for this one, let's just give it a text top slide. So inside here, I'm going to give a style. For this one, because we are using reanimated view, we have to give it some styles. So I'm going to give this a height. I want this to make use of the screen height. So I'm going to go to the top. I'm going to grab from dimensions .get window. I'm going to grab the height and as well the width. So let's scroll a little bit down back to where we have to define the height. So I want this to be the height, but I want it to be 70% of the height. No, for this one, yes. Okay, I want this one to be 70% of the height. Let me give this a background color of white. And I want it to have a background color of ash D0 0D0923. And I want the border bottom left radius to be, let me just define a constant called border radius. So I'm just going to expand cos border radius. I'm just gonna give this 78. So over here, you can just add that border radius, and I'm gonna give it border bottom right radius as well as same 78. I'm just gonna give it a overflow of hidden, and we have to justify all the items inside it to be on a straight line, that's vertically column. And lastly, we have to let's kind of do this. Okay, this flex direction column, and then we justify the content to flex end. So I think I didn't get that flex end. Yeah, so let's save. Actually, you're supposed to see the background and we are supposed to get that. Yes, so you can see we are getting this shape that we actually have over here. So that's the shape you're actually getting right away. So for this bottom slide, which is actually cool, I think so. Outside this view, we are going to create another view, but for this one is going to be a scroll view. So let me just use a animated scroll view, because that's where we are going to be making use of the text. So this scroll view is going to, okay, let's just add some scrolls inside of it. So I'm just going to create a component called car slide. So let me just quickly create that component. ROAFCE, and automatically it's going to create a car slide for us. So in this one, we can just import from our theme. We can import the box and the text. Inside here, we can create the box. So for the box, we can now add the text. So let's just give this a flex of 1, and let's give this a car slide. So I'm just going to give this a color of text. So let's go ahead and check the text color to actually see what we have. So the text color looks cool, or let me just give it primary color, I guess. So I think primary color will be better. And let's go ahead and import that quickly. It's going to import it for us. So you can see the car slide over there. So the car slide is actually a slide, and you can see it's making use of those slides that you can see. Sorry, it's not actually making use of any slide, but it's making use of this full space remaining that the top parts are already contained. So I'm going to now make use of those slides that we have over there. So I'm just going to say slides.map. So we have to get the index, and also we have to get anything there. Then we can just, I think I just made a mistake, slides.map. So I'm just going to cover this and save. So when we save, nothing special. It's just that we have to add a fragment from React, and then we can add the key because we don't want that error. So the key is going to be the index. So over here we have the index, and here we can use the structuring to pull out the car name, the car speed, any other thing that's inside our object. Then we can use structuring to pull it out. So let's go ahead and save and get rid of that error. So you can see all the slides are inside here, but it kind of looks boring. Let's go ahead and arrange that. We want the slide to be horizontal, and we have the deceleration. We want it to be fast. We also want to hide the horizontal indicator. which is false. We also have to disable the bounces, and we have to snap each of them to interval. So I want it to make use of the full width, and then we can snap to alignment to center. And you can see all those things here, but this is not really that cool because it's not making use of the full width that you can for each of the screen, which is actually boring. So before we do that, we need to make use of use scroll handler from React Native redash. So let me just quickly check that. So we can import from React Native redash. So what I want to import here is the use scroll handler. So we also have to import the onGesture event for the height animation, and also with Spring to create a Spring transition that is going to be really very cool whenever we tap on this. So let's go ahead and fix for the slide before we come over to the top animation. Let's go ahead and fix the width of each of these slides. So over here, I'm going to pass some couple of props to our components. So inside our component, I just have to pass the car name, the car speed, and lastly, we can pass the image. So let's go ahead and get the image from this one. And let's go over to car slide. So in car slide, we are going to define some couple of props. So interface car slide props. We also have to define an interface for the image props. So for the image, is going to be only the source, and then okay, each source is a number, and then over here we have the car name to be a string, and also we have the image to be image props. Then inside here we can just pass the car slide props. Then we can be able to be making use of the car name and also the image. I think it's remaining one thing, that is the car speed. But we don't actually need the car speed inside of this place, because let's check back in our design. So in our design, we just need the car name over here. So this is exactly where we are working on. So I'm just going to save this, and our car slide still looks very ugly. So what I have to do right now is I'm just gonna give it a width of the screen width, because I want it to make use of the interval snaps that we actually use in the scroll view. So I'm just going to import the width from dimensions .get window. So that should solve it, and automatically you can see those slides are now making use of the width of each of the scroll view that we're actually making use of. So which looks really cool. I'm just gonna add a padding of 10. So if you can recall from our restyle, we have I think I didn't show you the padding, but we actually needed a spacing. So even if I didn't show you, but you can see, if you check in their official docs, you can see how to define some spacing. These are standard cool spacing that you can actually use, so which looks really cool. So in order to push it off the edges of the container, which is very cool. But I'm still going to define some custom CSS. But let me just give it a background color of white, and I don't think I even can define the custom CSS. Align the items to the center, and I have to justify the content as well to the center. I'm gonna give a flex direction of column. This looks very cool. So if you're a Kotlin developer or an XML developer, you will see a lot of similarities with this, and this is going to make you happy. Trust me, this is going to make you happy. So let's go ahead and add one more box. So inside that box is where we are going to add our image. So this image is actually coming from React Native. Let's kind of check. So we have image from React Native. So guys, do make sure you hit the like button, also the subscribe button. So we have the source. The source is gonna be image.source, and for here we can add a custom style for the image. I want it to be a flex of 1, and I want to align self to center. And lastly, I want the aspect ratio to be 1.2 in order to zoom it a little bit. Let's go ahead and save that, and let's see. Lastly, we have to add the resize mode. So we can say resize mode, which actually contain, and it's going to contain that image for us. So you can see right now we are able to slide our cars, which looks very cool and very pretty cool. So guys, even as you're watching this video, don't forget to hit the like button once more, as well as the subscribe button. So for the box itself, over there we can let me just go ahead and add a text. If this looks really cool, then we don't need to add a style sheet for the box. So I want the variant to be description because the text looks a little bit smaller. So let's check back in our design. You can see over here the text look a little bit smaller, so we can use the description to actually do that. So that's because of that ugly space. And here we can now pass in the car name. Oh, this looks ugly. So let's go ahead and add a color to it before we define some style sheet for the box. So let's just use primary color. So for this one, we have to give it a flex of 1. Then we have to justify the content to center. You have to align the items to center. Give it a flex direction of column. And lastly, give it a padding top of extra large because we want it to be choked. And that looks cool because this image over here is smaller than this image at the top there. So we are done for the we actually done for the car slide, as in the bottom part of this screen. So let's go back to our welcome screen. So in our welcome screen, what we have to do right now is to make use of this slide over here. We are going to make use of the animation value to actually slide any image at the top over here. So the way we can do that right now is let's kind of give some couple of styling at the top here before we continue to animate it. The first thing we have to do is to add the logo at the top. So the logo is actually this logo over here. So this logo you can see right here, we want to actually add to that logo. Sorry, add the logo to our screen, which is going to be very simple for us to do. So what I have to do is to make use of this area. So for this one, we are going to give it an inline styling. So we have to align the items to the center, and we have to justify the content to the center. Then inside of it, I'm just going to add 2 more views, or a single view is okay. Yeah, a single view is okay. Then I'm going to bring image from React Native. So let me just go ahead and add the image before we go ahead to style it. Let me scroll a little bit up. Import image from React Native. So we can add the source to be the logo. So we have not yet imported the logo, and let's go ahead and import that. So at the, let me just come here. You can just say import imports of assets. You can just import logo from assets/images/logo.png. I think this should solve it. Let's go ahead and check whether we have a logo in our images. So you can see over here we have a logo. So we have, what's the problem? I think these images. assets/images/logo.png. So we don't have an error, so don't mind that. You can see the logo has saturated our screen, and that looks very awful and very bad. So you don't forget, the first thing you to do is to add a resize mode to contain, and that way actually make it a little bit small. Contain, not constraints. So let's go ahead and size it to reduce the width and the height. So we want the width to be 50 and the height as well to be 50. And we have to align the items to center. You have to justify. Okay, this one we're adding here is not supposed to be here, but add the resize mode. Size mode of scale. We have resize mode, right? Okay, we can add the resize method of scale. Then inside here we can just okay guys, let's go ahead and style this box at least. Let's give the width over here, the width and the height to be 50. Then we can align the items to center and justify the content to center. Let's kind of give it a margin top because you don't want it to be at the topmost level. And let's get rid of this size over here. So that should solve it. Still big. Still very, very big. So we have the width and the height. And I think we should add a flex of 1 to the image. And that will solve it for us. So we are done adding this styling, but if you can observe, this part of the screen is actually is not actually supposed to be at the bottom. So for us to get rid of this at the bottom, we can just remove the flex end over here, and you can see it's at the top. So that's how we can remove that.